by any means.
What's going on, guys? Fish Gaming here. Yeah, I'm back with another live stream. I just ended my previous one. Can I try and turn out 1 sec?
Some other items that they could probably pick up. Keeping the fishing rod, you got to imagine the jelly angler augment.
Yeah, see if I can change the title while I'm
gotta be real, just like this team here, sitting on top. Big bush bomb in the inventory. You got to imagine that these augments allow for the different variations in the loadout.
Come on.
No matter what tier some players might think these items may be, you can always think outside of the box with your creativity. As Noah Riley still in that solo position. Video got dropped right below him. 52 below the damage threshold overall. Taking damage from the storm, trying to get proactive. And the dangerous thing, as soon as they hear this shield crack in the next 7 seconds, that team below him is going to know he's weak. They know he's down, and they're going to use that as a green light to go.
No, Riley is not in the best of situations by any means. It doesn't really look like there's much of a pathway for him to get out of that one. Vortex and Belusi. Another example of a team that has just been rather hit or miss at times today. And they stand in the face of a team that has been very much hit today. Scram and tripping.
Really doing wonders here in this lobby, Scram and tripping. I think maybe having one not so good game, consistency pulling through for them. You can already see 165 above the damage threshold. They know that team's nearby, trying to make the GP plays. Shockwave hammers up and through their builds. Not going to find any success there, but it was definitely worth the effort. As Trippin just biding his time, waiting for those builds to break to peek a shot through. And since everybody has to rotate, they tried, they didn't get it, so now they're going to go on with the rest of the game. Having to travel through faulty splits, a little bit of a north pool, is going to make they really have to pick and choose, gather the information, because there's about 2-3 teams in front of them, another 3 teams below them, so they are pretty stacked all around. They want to make this rotation. The JJ2, see this replay of him versus Noah Riley. Noah Riley running out of options. JJ2 just waiting for that perfect moment. Even before Storm Surge began to tick in.
Yeah, we knew it was only going to be a matter of time in terms of what Noah Riley was dealing with. Now they have to make their journey into zone. Fortunately for them, it's not the longest of hikes by any means. Just a couple meters forward. Now they are safe. Queasy and V still in this one though. We saw their struggles earlier in this game. And, safe to say, things haven't gotten too much better for them. They are above on Surge, but the materials are not the best.
It's not it.
Which is a bit of an understatement, to say the least. Jelly Angler, though, will mean that they can get some spare shields. Ooh, dearie me. What do we have here? Cammy and Seti struggling with Surge. Literally 1 below. Like 1 damage below. Like, as in, like, they do 1 bit of damage.
You just need a mean mug them. You get that 1, but instead, they're taking damage from all different directions. Vortex and Belusi. They also take damage from other players in the lobby, and that's really, really interesting to see with Cammy going down after a double-digit elimination victory royale. It just turns sideways, and everything comes crashing down as Vortex getting into the box, taking over all that loot that they did have down there moments ago. You got to imagine it's Cammy's loot that fell all the way down there. Carmi and Vanyak slowly but surely nearby. Murstache and Tayson trying to last out everybody else. 152 points on the leaderboard. 231 above the damage threshold. Continuing with their proactivity, finding the information so that they're ready for anything that comes out of next.
Yeah, they're looking a lot more stacked than what we've seen from a lot of the other teams and POVs we've been watching. They have a hammer, they have good materials. Their Surge situation is not dire by any means. For Mixon though, this is a dire situation. Blatcher is down completely. So Mixon having to pick up the pieces.
Pick them up, just get right on out. You can see the loot. This has 2 apples on them. Something's better than nothing. It just goes to show the type of chaos and destruction he was probably playing through and through. Finds the Bush Warrior augment beginning to play its role here into the game as Joker and Abdor. They have a tower as high as can be, but you see they're picking and choosing which layer they're shooting from, dropping down ultimate low ground before they're starting to make that next rotation in.
Also in Piotr make their way into zone. And again, one of the teams that is looking a lot better than some of the things we have seen.
Okay, one
Trippin'
second.
and Scram, they're still in
YouTube
this one.
Studio.
We saw how difficult of a rotation they had to make earlier, and they weren't able to make it in.
Comment.
But just by the skin of their teeth, and now with no materials left. Peely's Plunder's not going to come in handy right now. They need to find something in fast. Fortunately for them, they have some builds here that they can sort of hide beneath. And there is some loot just above that floor. I believe they see it, but they're also aware of the players who are above them, so they don't want to make any sort of hasty decisions. I'm not sure if there's any spare mats in there, but
just so you don't hear me twice, I'm going to mute my phone.
Some sort.
Depending on what Scram might have, that might be a perfect opportunity, but Paco using the shockwave hammer. They know a third team is nearby. Trippin' trying to get the cheeky shots from below.
This is so bad. They have no control here whatsoever. A desperate hammer play just to cause a distraction, and a distraction that might just work. Trippin', it's a big shot, connects with something, and there's some loot there, and another one from Trippin'. Will he be able to close things out completely? I don't know how they've managed to get out of this situation with a positive.
I was about to say that same thing. I don't know how they went in, everything went awry, and they end out with better loot than when they began. That shockwave hammer really to play a role here in this end game. As Vaniac, even though he doesn't have a shockwave hammer, he must have found a supply drop along the way, which is one of the only ways you can get that launch pad, which is now a throwable. But as soon as he lets that one go, you're going to see some other teams begin to try to recycle it, especially if they don't have any mobility on their own, as Queasy and V beginning to find their stride here in this game, looking like things were in a rough patch for quite a while, but you got to imagine that jelly angler automate, getting them back up to tip-top shape as soon as they're able to gather all those jellyfish.
YouTube and watch TV and see if I can change the title that way. Give me 1 second. I'm going to plug my mouse into my TV
been able
as well.
To watch some of the struggles they've had throughout today in another game.
Give me 1 second here,
that
chat.
is the case. Manabuka is not even in this one to lead the way. Jelly angler is going to be
if I can do it that way, that's kind of like a good way of doing it.
Oh no, Peely's Plunder, sorry.
Just want to play my TV for a second.
Something's better than nothing is what I would say.
He needs shields though. That's the point, right? He needs some shields. Regardless of how he gets them, that's his own problem.
Like this being Queasy. Not forcing that ultimate high ground. They don't have the resources to back it up. They're looking for the refresh, trying to stay toward the outskirts, dropping them down piece by piece. It's going sideways. That's Thomas. You got to imagine they probably know he's a solo, trying to take advantage, but at the same time, with so many other teams nearby, you can't go all in, just like Tripper trying to make that cheeky play. Over 100 damage being put on the Tripper and forced to back up. But luckily for him, he still has that shockwave hammer, which is slowly but surely charging up, giving him something to work with. And we talked about the effects of a shockwave hammer on a solo, so it's not over for Tripper just yet.
Okay.
Not over by any means, but certainly an uphill battle. Thomas with just the 2 builds, even less HP than when we last checked in on him.
I can do it like this.
And a very, very big rotation to make. If he's able to survive this, I would be very, very surprised.
I think I'm logged in my TV.
There's a bunch of different augments at the ready.
1 second, chat.
Not many of them will be able to help him in this situation. And yeah, it looks like it will be the end. Nothing to defend against that aggression. Dan will take him out. The Spaniard having a brilliant, brilliant game so far. Easy picking up one in the feed as well. Trippin' looking for some here on our screens. Not able to catch anybody out. But a hammer will allow him to start to move forward.
He's just holding on to the Phillies plunder. Usually you see people drop that. Maybe he's going to find some buried treasure along the way. Highly unlikely, but Mixing's going to find his own surprise, catching somebody off guard. Huge siphon and refresh before JJ2 immediately takes him down. That's Trippin' under siege from multiple directions, having to use a little bit more mats to try to stay alive, guard himself on the defensive end. Down to just 5 builds, waiting for that last possible moment. The only duo right in front of him, waiting for them to rotate, but the zone pulls right back. This is a huge miracle for Trippin' that he's surely going to take advantage of.
Just plays into his favor. He can sit there in some of these old builds and look to sneak up on a team that is caught unawares. The Stash and Chasing, they are looking up at height. They do see vulnerabilities in it, but they also see vulnerabilities on their layer. JJ2 walks right into the wrong box. And that is going to go a long, long way in allowing them to do what they do. For Stroking Hydro, moving to the front of the zone, they want to find control there. Tasting them a Stash though, they're going to do a similar thing. Move towards that front side and start building, start trying to claim space. So many players down beneath them. So many players struggling in these situations. All the scuff solos, Glumshy being one of them. You can see he's trying to hit big shots, but nothing's going to come of it. He will fall. Mr. Savage in a very similar predicament with no materials, popping into a box. One of the best solo players we've seen in Fortnite. But can he make a play here? Jumping in, hitting one, not able to connect with another.
At least he got something for his efforts right there. Not able to get into the top 10 though, as Arthur, the solo player towards the low ground, pressured from multiple angles. Walls getting taken. Quickly backed up and backed out, 100 damage right off, but he needs a moment to stabilize, and no one's going to give him that moment. Into the top 10 we go. A fight for the high ground ensues. Deoxy and Mappy are going to be the last ones standing, and the last ones laughing because there's 8 moving tone, only 1 more to go, and they're in complete control.
Diox and Mappy, the game's in their hands, you'd think. They need to be careful. I know you want to drop into the storm and get some of the loot, but don't cost your game for it. The hammer will now allow him to sort of regroup with Diox, but Diox found himself in some trouble of his own, takes out user. Mustache now, left alone. What can he do? He has the one. Can he find any more? Just down to wood. Sees a player above him. He's going to look to try to chop him out. The shield kick will go a long way. Putting his shields back up. There are players on this layer. Sees a player stuck in the storm. The loot is not going to be something that might flow down the stream right into his path if he's fortunate enough. He will go for it. And it goes a long way. That madness is going to be huge for Mustache staying in this game.
Huge indeed. This implications could mean so much. Into the top 5 we go. Only 1 full duo alive. And Yaxi is going to be one of the 2 players along with Mappy. They possess the high ground for at least 1 or 2 extra zones, and now they're ready to finish this one out. Somebody's trying to contest them, but no, they're going to drop down low. Bring them down to their level. This is going to be a huge finish. Somebody's trying to contest it. Up goes Mappy. Down goes Mappy. He's putting on the damage, making sure that nobody can contest him this high up off the ground. As the only duo remaining, they're just getting tossed and turned. The shockwave hammer's not proven to be fruitful for these players that are on the no ground as Mustache gets taken out.
Diox and Mappy, they've been so impressive today, and they're closing it out with a big victory royale. Came into this game in 2nd place, and they might just leave it in 1st. 1 more game left, but they are showing us all why they are one of the best teams in this lobby.
Victory royale with 11 eliminations. That's looking like a 100-point game for that duo. That's enough to burst you up the leaderboards no matter where you're at, but where you finally stand, only time will tell. But huge plays, knowing exactly what to do. And then the augments, the danger hero. I know we've said a lot about Forecast, but I think Danger Hero might be the best augment that we've seen so far.
Yeah, it has been so crucial in these moments. You see Mustache being absolutely wiped out by Mappy. These guys are on one, hitting big shots. Diox is no stranger to doing this kind of thing in qualifiers. I feel like for the past year in competitive Fortnite, Diox has always had moments like these, and Mappy very much joining him here as well. A very impressive game 5 from this duo, and definitely showing us why they are going to be moving way up in the standing.
Yeah, and we've seen some of those top teams go down a little early. We've seen some of our mid teams really change up their strategy after the last couple of games. What the leaderboards say going into game 6. Luckily, we have 3 of the best analysts to break it all down and make some sense of what we're about to see.
Thank you so much, Jacob PR, the tallest man in the world. My gosh. Man, game number 5 did not disappoint. I just got to say, special shout outs to you, Mappy. Just like a clinical showing of how to use that hammer as a means of controlling what others are allowed to do and not do in those final moments of the game.
Yeah, they did so well. And it was one of those moments in the end game right there where they took high ground at the perfect moment. They had the materials, they had enough loot to do so, and this was it right here. They took the high ground with that hammer. As Viv was talking about a little bit yesterday, using the high ground or using the hammer to take that high ground and break all the builds around you, it just creates so much space, and then they held it so well.
Mappy and Deoxy, I think as soon as they saw Nefreezy finish off with the Ilium onto our tour in the feed, that was the moment that they realized, hey, this is our opportunity to actually just take it over. Actually, with P-Orter, but regardless, the circumstances prove that Deoxy and Mappy, they did not want to leave it up to circumstance. They wanted to take control of their own fate here, heading into game number 6, because this Victory Royale on top of eliminations is bound to put them in the first place on the leaderboards.
And at the end here, they were the only duo, and it's very, very easy when you're the only duo in a lobby to get a little bit too confident and just go for that 1v1 situation, right? So you could see them just taking the fight really, really well. They're communicating, right, we'll go for this player first, we'll go for that player next, because they knew they were the only duo. They would have looked at the map, they would have looked at the stats on the players, and they played it so well. They didn't get too aggressive where it mattered.
Yeah, definitely. The synergy is there. And now we turn our attention to the standings to see how things are going. Well, for Diox and Matthew, remember, they went into that game in second place. Now they push everyone aside. We are in first. Piotr, Artur, we saw them go down kind of early in there. And, I mean, hey, look, you're still second place. That's still fine. How are we seeing the overall lobby kind of shift so far?
It's just the fact that they secured a Victory Royale plus those 11 elims, and it's only a 5-point difference between first and second place at the moment. And I think, if anything, this kind of emphasizes the fact that Piotr and Artur, they have been absolutely phenomenal in terms of just consistently securing placements. But I think Artur, for people that might not be as familiar, ever since Chapter 3 Season 3, I think he's always been one of those players that is consistently securing top-end placements. And the 18 elims that they have, and only a 5-point difference between first and second, kind of just stands up to this.
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, talking about first place, Darks, of course, and Mappy. Darks been on the come-up for this entire sort of chapter, coming out of Chapter 3, of course, playing with Waffler at the beginning of Chapter 3. He always looked like he had that potential.
If you want to see the new title, you have to
had the ability. Now paired up with the experience of Mappy, we can see 30 eliminations for this
should have changed now. How like stream should have changed.
To go along with it.
And I think too, you know, for you longtime fans of EU, you're kind of used to these names, but for some of you, you were like, I've never heard of these names when it comes to EU. EU just has so many players. There's so many people to highlight, and now those players that don't normally get the spotlight, they get that opportunity to step in and say, what's up? You should be paying attention to us as we turn our attention to the top 20. So remember, over the course of these 3 weeks, we're playing for a total of series points. And at the end of week 3, we'll go into a surge week, and then from there, grand finals. So everyone's just trying to play as well as they can for the next following weeks.
And look, we know that as far as top 20 is concerned, there's still ample opportunity for some of these.
For me, it's still saying that's the old title, but yeah, I've changed the title up in the stream chat.
But also have to point out the fact that our current top 5, at least for these leaderboards, they're entirely.
Yeah, I just changed the title up. So now it's just playing Fortnite Live. Part 72. So that's the title you're looking for. What is that? It's worth it though, isn't it? I can just tell the squads. Hopefully you guys can hear me alright. Yes, I just changed the title up, chat. I didn't change the thumbnail because I can't, but yeah, at least now I know that I can change the title whilst I'm live. That's a drum shotgun. There must be some unvaulted weapons in there. That's my guess, chat. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? When we officially jump in game. I think that's unvaulted. The heavy sniper's in the game, isn't it? I don't think so, actually. No, it's not. It's being played for guns. I'm going to land somewhere off, where nobody else will really land because of, I don't want to get killed straight away by a squad, so yeah. Holy shit. Oh god, no. I'm scared. I don't really have a weapon right now. Oh my god, no! 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 No, you don't! Is it slug juices in the game? Pretty good at that. And they said extra stone and metal resources, they weren't joking, look at this. Yep, max brick in no time. Oh wait, I'm not. 400, not too bad. do something, I might swap this around, so let's do that instead, so I'll save the med kit. I suppose my battery's dying. What's this taking so long? So long to put into a new match chat. I don't know why it's taking so long. Chap, I'll be live tomorrow, I promise. Because I don't have college, so I'll speak to you tomorrow, chap. Peace.